It's not a mystery to me. The same thing that happened to my daughter is what happened to Whitney. There's only one person that was around both occasions.
You won't say his name. Nick Gordon is who you're referring to.
I won't say his name.
Although Whitney Houston and Bobby Brown's daughter, Bobby Christina Brown, has been gone for a while, her father claims that the circumstances surrounding her death still don't make sense. Bobby has also discussed on multiple occasions to date how Chrissy's ex-boyfriend Nick Gordon might have been accountable for both Whitney's and Chrissy's deaths.
I want the world to know that Bobby Christina did not die from the bathtub incident. That's not what killed Bobby Christina. What killed Christina? Bobby Christina was stabbed to death.
You approached that?
He knows what happened. I don't know what happened that night, but he does.
You walk through that door and you see her much like you saw Whitney.
It was literally, it was a nightmare all over.
However, rumors have it that there's much more to the story and that Chrissy knew what had happened to her mother and that the eerie similarities between their deaths were staged, honey. I also know that I have heard a lot about how she was present for several of her mother's confrontations with individuals like
And then Grammy time, and her and Clive had a fight 2 days before. And from what I was told, Bobby Christina was present for some of that fight. And then the next thing you know,
So, what exactly did Chrissy know about her mother's death? Was it connected to her death? Let's get started. For some background, Christina grew up in front of cameras and appeared next to Whitney on a few occasions, such as when she was 8 months old and during an interview with Barbara Walters. She also appeared on stage at the 1994 American Music Awards when her mother accepted an award. When her mother passed away, Chrissy was among the people who suffered the most, and she was even given a breakdown when her mother's body was discovered in her Beverly Hills hotel room, but she put on a brave face for her funeral and memorial services. In fact, while her family tried to shield her, Chrissy became more well-known in the days after Whitney's passing. She eventually joined and later left a Tyler Perry series, attended the Billboard Music Awards, and even did an interview with Oprah, among other public appearances. Sadly, she didn't live long enough to continue with. Her mother's legacy began on January 31, 2015, when Chrissy was discovered unconscious in a bathtub in the Georgia home she shared with Nick Gordon. A combination of drowning and intoxication was determined to be the cause of her death by the Fulton County Medical Examiner, and the toxicology report found alcohol, a substance related to Coca-Cola, sedatives and anti-anxiety medications, and morphine in her system. The medical examiner's office was unable to determine whether her death was due to a combination of intoxication and drowning. Was the death accidental or deliberate? The underlying cause of death, they simply stated at the time, is the condition that initiates the downward spiral of events that culminate in death, and in this instance, it is the immersion linked to drunkenness, the pneumonia, and the encyclopedia that occurred from the immersion and, of course, drug placement. Death of Bobby Christina. Her mother passed away on February 11, 2012, at the age of 48. She was discovered unconscious and immersed in the bathtub within the. According to official reports, Whitney died by accidental drowning in a bathtub at the Beverly Hilton Hotel in Beverly Hills. Toxicology results indicated that Whitney had traces of Coca-Cola in her body, along with Xanax and other substances. Official reports suggested that Whitney may have suffered a heart attack, which could have been caused by artery hardening, which caused her to lose consciousness and drown. However, we also know that the coroner did not find any evidence of a poisoning, cardiac episode, or event. So that story about Whitney having a heart attack was likely just a cover-up. The coroner only mentioned that Whitney had mild heart disease, including some artery blockage, like many smokers do, so the autopsy report at least did not prove that she fell into the tub because of a heart attack. As for the Coca-Cola levels, the coroner stated that it appeared she used some but not a lot, so it could not have been the cause of her death. Therefore, the question that people have always been, buried in that tub of scaling water until she was unable to extricate herself. In addition, there was insufficient water in Whitney's lungs to confirm that she drowned, which suggests that someone put her in the bathtub and she did not faint. You know, the names of Chissy's ex-boyfriend Nick Gordon and Ray J have always been mentioned in relation to Whitney's dubious death.
Ray J was the last person to see her alive. He let the dealer in, but she was so bright. But he let the dealer in that gave her the shot. Leola Brown, Bobby Brown's sister, said on several occasions that she was beat. They saw her body. She didn't just die in a tub, like she was beat up.
The problem is that Ray J was the last person to publicly date Whitney, but they were incredibly unstable and never acknowledged their relationship. On the date of Whitney's death, Ray J claimed he was not present at the party, but there have been multiple accounts that suggest he lied about his absence. In fact, one of the accounts from those who attended stated that Brandy had asked for her brother at the party, so why would she be asking for him if he wasn't there? First of all, when Raffles and Ray J were rushing out of the back that same evening with Brandy Burnside, people began to give Ray J the side eye. However, Raffles obviously didn't like Ray, so why was he helping him slip out of the place then to add interest? Soon after Whitney's passing, Lola Brown, Whitney's sister to Bobby Brown, claimed that Ray J had been assisting Whitney in obtaining whatever it was she was using, and that he was most likely the one who provided her a defective bag.
I saw Ray J coming out of the hotel, hiding his head, being pushed into the car. Why? I looked and I said, why is he hiding? Why is he hiding his face? He's always trying to show his face when he's around Whitney. Why now? Why are you trying to hide now, Ray J? And I put it all together. When I first heard she passed away, I said, my God, somebody gave her a bad bag. Yes, I promise you, that was the first thing that came out of my mouth. And then I saw Ray J, and it all added up.
Additionally, it doesn't help that before Whitney passed away, she gave Ray J's sister Brandy a note when she crashed an interview with Brandy, Monica, and Clive. To this day, Brandy still won't share the contents of the note. In fact, in another interview, she stated, "I'm going to just not say what it was and keep it to myself for my own personal reason." However, many people think Whitney may have purposefully given the note to Brandy in front of the cameras, as in, it just doesn't make sense that Whitney Houston interrupted a recorded interview to say hello while she was still fully clothed and wet, then passed the note to Brandy and kissed her like that at the end. If you listen closely, you'll hear her say, "I almost drowned today." People also notice that Brandy talks about everything positive when it's good, in case something happened to her. Unfortunately, she won't, which can only indicate that the note was bad and that her face spoke for itself when Whitney gave it to her. People have always expressed the belief that Christina learned the truth about her mother's death, and there have been reports that she even had receipts, according to Jaguar, who stated that she was present when Whitney was fighting and dying.
And then it's Grammy time, and her and Clive had a fight 2 days before. And from what I was told, Bobby Christina was present for some of that fight. And then the next thing you know,
The circumstances surrounding Christina's death and the parallels to her mother's death have also never made sense, particularly when it comes to what was happening between her and Nick Gordon. Now, there have been theories that suggest Clive may have been involved in Whitney's death. If Christina was present during some of the arguments, they had best believe that she must have heard things she probably shouldn't have heard. Whitney simply happened to die at a Clive party.
This is a young man who swears to God that he loves my niece, but yet you drag her up the steps, you pull her by her ear. You pull her by her hair and you punch her in the face, and you knock 2 of her teeth out of her mouth.
According to reports, Chrissy was eager to carry on her mother's legacy and was looking forward to moving closer to her father and developing a relationship with him. However, Nick didn't want her close to anyone because he knew that everything would have been done for him as soon as Chrissy left. It sounds like Chrissy was planning a trip to Los Angeles to celebrate her father's birthday with their family. This trip was also expected to become a permanent move to be closer to Bobby and concentrate on her career. She was even allegedly supposed to meet with a friend on the day she was discovered in that tub to inform her friend that Nick wasn't the man she believed him to be. However, according to those close to her, on the day she wanted to tell Nick about her plans, she was intoxicated and upset when Nick came home from their outing. They argued, and Nick attacked her before leaving her alone in the room, which is why she allegedly had BR. Remember, shortly after Christina was transferred to hospice care. To seek justice on her behalf, the court's appointed conservator also filed a complaint against Nick Gordon. In the complaint, he was accused of stealing money and causing serious bodily harm by posing as Bobby Christina's husband. However, the conservatory later filed an amended complaint accusing him of being responsible for Bobby Christina's untimely death. According to the complaint, Nick Gordon and Bobby Christina had a heated argument that resulted in him giving her a toxic cocktail that, according to Bobby Brown, he rendered her unconscious before placing her face down in the tub. Nick Gordon was present when Whitney and Chrissy died, and based on his beliefs, he may have been involved in both deaths. However, Nick denied the accusations and even claimed that Chrissy's father, Bobby Brown, was to blame for Chrissy's death. As Nick also passed away a few years later, nobody can be certain of what exactly caused Whitney and Chrissy to die, or even if. I'm not sure if Nick was accountable for either of the deaths or if someone more powerful set Nick up for it. But I can say that neither Whitney's nor Chrissy's deaths ever made sense to anyone. Don't you find the similarities a little unsettling? Do you also think that Nick was involved or that someone more powerful set him up for it? Please share your thoughts in the comments section below.